Hey everybody, Scott Mann, Director and Founder of the Stability Institute, and I want to thank you for joining us for another episode of STAB TV, Stability Television. And today we're bringing you another book review. I know that your time is limited. I know that you are extremely busy as you prepare and execute missions all over the world and stability activities all over the world if you're a private sector person. And what we try to do at the Stability Institute is look for books and products that are out there that will help reduce the discovery learning and will assist you in one or any combination of the core brand areas that we focus on at the Institute of Brokering Knowledge and Connecting People, which are local appreciation of the environment, the bottom-up methodology that we promote, the framework, collaboration and network activities of the broader stability network, and then of course of building a holistic tradecraft capacity in stability through preparation and training. So when we find something that we think will help in one or more of those, we want to bring it to you. This is the second of really a three-part book review series that I'm focused on right now that I believe will help you do two things specifically. This book that I'm about to talk to you about I believe will assist you in local appreciation of the environment, and I also think it will give you some specific framework and tools to better enhance your ability to conduct bottom-up operations and bottom-up activities as a framework in many of these at-risk, under-governed areas where you operate. Now, the last book that I reviewed with you was Rule of the Clan by Mark Weiner. And it was focused on the traditional societies, the under-governed areas where we often operate, and as Mark refers to it, society of status. And in that book, he really lays out the different characteristics and frameworks of clan society. And clan society could be anything beyond the norms of the state. It could be gangs or ethnic groups or mujahideen groups, warlord groups, tribes, anywhere where traditional law, honor, revenge, that kind of thing are prevalent instead of rule of law and focus on the individual. So that was the book we brought you last week. And this week I'm bringing you the book, and it's on my iPad this time. It's a digital book, which is how I love to come at these books sometimes. It's The World Until Yesterday by Jared Diamond. Mr. Diamond is also, Professor Diamond is also the author of the best-selling book Guns, Germs, and Steel. And he's really a prolific author, and he's done fantastic work and research around the world on traditional society. And what this book is really about is breaking down the fundamental differences between traditional society and the state. And if Mark Weiner's book really focused on the aspects of the clan, this goes even a step further and really drives into the norms and behaviors of traditional society outside the reach of the state. And I found a lot of the chapters in this book to be extremely useful to some of the areas that we operate and some of the situations that we face. Just to give you a few examples of some of the things that Mr. Diamond brings out in his book is, first of all, he defines the different types of traditional society, which is very helpful. He distinguishes traditional society from the typical state. He makes it very clear that all of us at some point came from traditional society, and that frankly traditional society has been around a lot longer than the modern society that we know today. And he also points out that there are still many elements of traditional society that are prevalent in modern society and that we need to be aware of. But in many ways we're still citizens and wards of the state in the sense that we don't understand all there is to understand about traditional society. So once he distinguishes between traditional society and the state, and then he gives you the different types of traditional society and the different ways that these societies are organized, he then goes into a range of issues, civil society issues that are prevalent in traditional societies all over the world. And he studies everywhere from Papua New Guinea to Afghanistan to Africa. He cites all kinds of examples from the Amazon basin. So these reflect traditional societies all over the world. But he drills in hard to relationships. He looks hard at how relationships exist in traditional society, and he makes it real clear that relationship before transaction is such an important part of traditional society. And frankly, it's something that we often overlook in how we operate because we are a society of contract. He also brings out the aspects of peace and war in traditional society. And he shows the reader how, in many cases, conflict and war in tribal society, really can be, it can be over the top stuff, and it can escalate to epic proportions, to the point of genocide. But that also the restoration of a relationship in many conflict situations trumps all other aspects of right, wrong, who was at fault. It's really the relationship and the restoration of that relationship so that that all-out tribal war or that traditional society war doesn't occur. So he really does a great job in this book of giving you different looks of small wars, big wars, as it pertains to traditional society. And it's pretty striking, the differences in peace and war in traditional society versus state society that we all know and understand in the West. He also gets into the operating logic of why people fight in traditional societies. And I think as we work in a lot of places like Afghanistan and Yemen, in East Africa that are traditional societies to some degree, it's really important that we understand the mentality and the psyche of why people fight in these traditional societies. Why they fight before we were there, why they fight as just a matter of course. Because it's easy to get swept up in that, it's easy to lose our way if we don't understand what the operating logic is in the first place of why people in traditional societies fight, how that's tied to honor, how that's tied to feud, revenge, and those kinds of things. He also looks hard at how they view danger, and how people in traditional societies view danger, how they view religion, how they view health, how they view their elders and their children. All of these things, when you're working in and among local populations of traditional society, these are essential framework items to have. Now, every place is different, and we know that. But again, what I'm telling you is this book, The World Until Yesterday, coupled with Mark Weiner's book, Rule of the Clan, are two essential companions to help you understand the differences between traditional society and state society. And those differences we have to understand as we come into these areas to foster stability. We have to be able to put those references in place and make the distinguishing assessments between those two societies so that we can properly apply stability in the right area and understand what norms and behaviors are really at play and not bring our own biases to the table. I think the mindset that Professor Diamond really brings to this book and the way that he imparts it on the reader is really useful. For example, the vignette that I'll kind of leave you with on this is on the issue of right, wrong, conflict, and revenge. Professor Diamond talks about in this book where a young boy in Papua New Guinea is struck by a car accidentally. A gentleman who's driving it for a local business in Papua New Guinea hits this child, kills him, and the child's family immediately starts to muster within clan-like fashion of their honor being assaulted to exact revenge, not only on the gentleman driving that truck, but the company that owned that truck. And so in an effort to prevent a feudal attack and a tribal war, the boss of the gentleman who was driving that truck requests a wake, a ceremony for the family. He gathers together money and in a very public display of sorrow, grief, apology, and condolence, he presents that blood money to the family and in a very sincere, apologetic way makes it clear that that money in no way substitutes for the loss of that child, but that he hopes that in some way restores the honor and relationship that was affronted through this accident, and that they can restore this relationship. And that's what's really key here, is that it really was never about right or wrong. In the United States, that child being hit, it would have been about who hit the child, were they right, were they wrong, what's the punishment. Here, it was all about the restoration of the relationship so that normalcy could continue. And that is a major paradigm shift from what we're used to in a society of contract. And it's very illustrative of the types of norms and behaviors that we don't always get. And so understanding how conflicts are resolved, how how relationships are restored, gives us the tools that we need to really appreciate these local environments. Now, in the next book review that I'm going to do, after we've done some work to lay out the dynamics, I'm going to spend some time talking about some tools that can be used to operate in these areas where emotion and honor and relationships are so important. And it's the book by Professor Stuart Diamond, no relation I don't think, of Getting More, which is a cutting-edge negotiation approach. Professor Diamond works closely with Special Operations Forces. I work with him in a range of projects, and we're going to bring this book to you as a way to now think about how can you apply principles and tradecraft to deal with these societies of status and overcome many of the challenges that we face in these complex environments. So we've done some work on local appreciation. The next book review, I'm going to give you a tool that will help you really put to use the bottom-up approach in overcoming those complexities of society of status. So I hope this served you. I hope you got something out of this book review. I hope that you'll go out and get the book because I think it's fantastic and definitely something you should keep in your kit bag. Again, the name of the book is The World Until Yesterday, Jared Diamond. My name is Scott Mann, Director and Founder of the Stability Institute, and thanks for watching.